Welcome to today's game, everybody, and today we are playing Battles of Westeros, which is the tactical battle game for Game of Thrones. Today we're doing the scenario Assault from Crakefall, which I'm told is made up for the game, but that's alright. And we have Baratheon versus Lannister. The Baratheon forces are made up of a lot of cavalry on the flanks, with mixed infantry and archers in the middle. Let's see what the player plans to do with them.
Hi there friends, my name is Paul Suda and I'm actually the fight designer and producer of Tower of Joy, a Game of Thrones fan film. You might have seen it online. We did the Tower of Joy fight, Arthur Dayne, Hightower, and Went versus Ned Stark and his friends. I'm a friend of Jeff's actually, so it was great to get invited to play. My first experience with Game of Thrones actually wasn't the books, it was actually the Fantasy Flight board game, the original first edition of the Fantasy Flight board game. So I was super excited to play Battles of Westeros. I haven't played it before. Jeff asked me what side I wanted to play, and I said Baratheon, because I always felt like in the books and in the show too, Baratheon, like both Renly and Stannis, never quite got their chance to shine and do what they're best at. So I wanted to see if we can get some redemption. This is my first time playing Battles of Westeros, and something I've noticed, which is very similar to the Fantasy Flight Game of Thrones board game, is that the order structure has everything to do with how many choices you have. So I'm not super familiar with the structure of how the game works, but I like mobility and getting to objectives first. There's 2 objective icons on the board. I'm trying to get to at least one of them first and hold on to it, because if you have 2 of yours and 1 of the opponents, then you get reinforcements. If I can keep bleeding reinforcements in, I can overwhelm Jeff with numbers. That's my objective.
Lannister is made up of a lot of heavy infantry and a couple of heavy cavalry in the front, with some cavalry in reserve.
I'm Jeff MacArthur, I'm an author and I run this channel, and today I'm going to be playing the Lannisters, and I'm going to try to keep them as much together as possible. Their advantages seem to be in their numbers, or at least in their commanders staying close to their units. They seem to be able to provide a lot of bonuses for that sort of thing. So I'm going to try to keep that wall. They start off really in a straight line. I'm going to try to keep that wall as much as possible, try to move them up together as much as possible, utilize those bonuses, and just see how it goes.
So here's the setup. On the Baratheon side, you have Robert Baratheon with a lot of cavalry there at the bottom, their right flank. Davos Seaworth is holding up the center with his smugglers and some regular infantry. They're not as heavy as the Lannister troops, but they have a lot of tricks up their sleeves. And on the left, you got Brienne of Tarth leading some infantry, and Renly Baratheon leading cavalry. Their cavalry are their best troops, and since they're on the flanks, watch for them doing a pincer movement. The Lannisters are led by Jaime Lannister on their left, Kevin Lannister is holding the center, and Gregor Clegane, also known as the Mountain, is holding the right. The Mountain is personally very tough, and he has some really heavy infantry on their right, so that's going to be a strong front over there. Kevin Lannister is a very good leader, but he'll have to stay in close proximity with his troops in order to lend them his abilities. And Jaime Lannister is all about killing the enemy leader, so watch for him trying to find Robert Baratheon in the fray. Meanwhile, the reserves are led by Tywin Lannister, and since it's all cavalry, they'll probably be plugging up whatever holes appear in the Lannister line. Let's get this battle started.
Alright, opening volley, and they have moved their archers up to shoot at us, and took out one of our units, and we shot back and took out one of their units. I guess that's sort of standard at the beginning with archers shooting each other. Renly moved his cavalry up. They took one of the objectives. Now you can't say it now because it's gone past there, but they pushed these guys back, hit them pretty hard, but the Mountain then went, and the Mountain used this card, which gave him 1 unit to come back, which is why they're now at full strength again, and smacked them pretty hard and sent them back. Baratheon came up here, hit the archer, and he got 1 archer, but then we came back and killed 2 horses. Baratheon is moving up there on the left, our right, their left. That's Davos is sending the command, and Lannister sent these archers up onto the hill and made some of them retreat. Sort of a midterm thing, and a lot of people are just simply moving up, everybody moving along, and oh my god, they're getting hit by a lot of cavalry! They got all of them, except one single guy is just holding on. He's like, no, you will not kill me, you will not take my life. They can't retreat either, so they're killed even on flags.
The humanity of the thing.
He had the stick pointed at one guy, but then they came from the other side. Oh my goodness.
So I get this thing?
Yeah.
The flag, is that what I get?
Yes,
the flag.
and it just goes to your side.
So flag is a point, yes?
Exactly. Right. And this goes 2 to me. Ow!
Oh, because of, when you...
Morale, yeah.
So the blue is 2?
Yep. And the cavalry just continues right on through and slaughters right to the green. And he's laughing maniacally. No!
Player stays his ground.
And the attack is stopped by the Kingslayer. He stops them and goes, you're not going to take me. You take all my other guys instead. So we're at the end of the turn, and Baratheon is doing good on the left, they're right, while the Lannisters are doing well on the right, the opponent's left, yeah. So it's kind of, although I would actually say Baratheon's doing a little bit better, because that cavalry just went through, slaughtered them, and now he is on the flank.
Of the Kingslayer.
Yeah, right by the Kingslayer, Jaime Lannister, and so he could actually take out a leader pretty soon. Looks like the Lannister reserves might be heading that direction. We have all along the line, the two sides are almost to each other. While Lannisters, yes, they did hurt this unit, they did not take it out, and in fact, as you can see, Baratheon has that command space, which means Baratheon gets reinforcements for this next turn, so they are going to appear right there. Lannisters are just going to have to suck it for right now. But here's what's going to be interesting, is that the Baratheon have outrun some of their commanders, so these guys will be out of command. They will have to use individual commands to continue, so that'll be interesting to see, whereas Lannisters continues to stay in command and it has one straight line. So it'll be interesting in this next turn to see how that all plays out. Smugglers sneaked up on the archers and pushed them back. And over here, the mountain was going to have a gigantic turn. He rushed up behind this unit, was going to slaughter these guys. In fact, who is that specific guy? Is that Renly? He was going to slaughter Renly, but he only pushed him back. These guys did kill the unit that was up there, were not able to advance. These guys were going to go up and slaughter them because this was this card, and he used all 3 of those, so he got an extra movement. That's why that one unit was able to go further. And +1 to hit. Plus, he has these 2 things, so he was able to do one of these for free. But these guys only pushed them back. So, such a pity. Could have been such a big... I mean, he did pretty good, but man, he could have really, really slaughtered them there.
Is not your strong suit this particular time.
No, rolling has not been my ally, but it has been Baratheon's ally here. They took out the mountain's escorts. They're not going to quite take out the mountain quite yet. He's very tough, let's put it that way. But meanwhile, these guys played this card, Lannister played this card. Again, this is going to just really do a ton. It's like, order 2 archers, the archers who don't move get to fire twice. So they fired and caused them to retreat. Then these guys fired and killed one guy. Just not doing very much at all. Lannisters are really not hitting the Baratheon quite as hard as Baratheon's hitting Lannister. These Baratheon scum sliced through this unit, caused them to retreat, went from full just down to 1, but then Kevin got activated, turned this one guy into Rambo. He came slicing back at them and took out 2 units. Haha.
It did nothing.
This turn happened over here. These guys, yep, shot at Jamie's, and these guys here came up here and hit and got another point. It's currently 4 points, or no, 2 points. You just get 1 per unit. 2 points. We are tied up.
The war's not won.
Robert Baratheon is moving up. And this cavalry came up here, is hitting those axe guys, and just pursued them until they were dead.
Let the priests argue over good and evil. They can live in my new world, or they can die in their old one.
The Starks have always ruled the North.
So the mountain being the only thing left is getting hit by all of that Baratheon cavalry, and he's just going fighting them back and forth. Now they did in one turn. They have to hit him 4 times in one single hit, and they got him 3 times one of the times, but didn't quite take him down. So the mountain is living up to his name. Meanwhile, they brought their reinforcements up as well. So that brings us to the end of the turn, actually, where actually it's kind of worked a bit like we were thinking. Actually, were you going to point something out here?
Just making sure that there's nothing I can move. Nothing I'm good.
Over here, actually, the Lannisters have kind of come back a little bit on their left. They're just kind of holding on the right. They're not continuing to do much. However, the Baratheons have gone back onto that objective, so they are going to get more reinforcements. And a lot of what happened with the Baratheons, kind of what we were talking about, where they kind of got moved out of the range of their commanders, so they really weren't able to follow through on the attack on the right. But he did bring that up. He's bringing the other commanders up. So this next turn, Baratheons are probably going to have quite a bit to do. But Lannisters as well, they're able to hold their own. It's turned into kind of a Lannister defense and Baratheon attack, and the Baratheons are coming around on the 2 sides. So should be interesting.
It's going pretty nicely. I'm happy with how the dice are rolling in my favor. I've gotten a pretty good variety of kinds of orders I can use to give me flexibility on the field. I've managed to wrap around both flanks, and I have one objective, so I'm getting reinforcements every single turn.
Wow, they jumped at us. I really wasn't expecting that. I mean, the one advantage is at least we still are keeping that line I was hoping. We've had to create sort of a defensive perimeter, but as a result of them really taking that initiative, they are now wrapping us around us on both flanks, and it's looking a little bit hairy for us. So Renly made a brave, daring attack. He went off of here, came over here, attacked, killed a couple of those guys, and they just mauled them. The mountain and the other, well, first the others went in there, killed Renly's guard, and the mountain comes in, crushes his head, totally destroys him, but he gets to flip his card, which means that he gets to flip the card.
If flip this card of an attack would eliminate Renly's unit. His unit instead remains unharmed, and the morale of his house has been increased by 2. So this is, in the Battle of the Blackwater, after Renly was murdered by the Shadow, one of the Lannister people put on his armor and was fighting Stannis' troops, and it scared the hell out of them. It's because they thought like they were fighting a ghost of Renly.
Okay, so this is it. We're fighting now the ghost of Renly. And Baratheon came up on the flank and did not get hits. However, it was a flanking maneuver, so he got the two reds. Rerolled 2 greens and slaughtered him. Now it's pursuit, so he's going to continue on.
The war's not won.
And their advance was stalled right there at the river, and notice now that the mountain is cut off from some of his men. Meanwhile, over here, Jamie came in, made the cavalry retreat, and they got hit a little bit from some infantry down there. We joined the battle already in progress. Robert Baratheon came up here. Actually, he hit a unit that was there, made them retreat. He actually killed a bunch of them. Made them retreat. Who was it? Was it these guys? Yeah, made them retreat over there. Then continued on, had pursuit, went at Jaime. He has a special cool thing where basically if he gets 3 of the same color, he wipes out the entire unit no matter who's there, so he would have destroyed them. Didn't manage to do that, but then he sent this heavy cavalry around, got up on the hill, flanked Jaime, took out his entire escort, and has caused him to retreat, so he's coming back onto the objective here, and they get pursuit, so they are going to continue on this fight. And phew, he found out that these guys are just honorable, they do not have pursuit. They're too honorable to pursue, so Jaime is still there and alive and one-handed. Actually, he still has both hands at this point. Jaime attacked Robert. Robert realizes Jaime, he has a bonus against commanders, so he went running, aye, 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 aye. And Jaime sent these guys over. He rallied them and sent them after the cavalry, and they hit, but then they were told, oh no, we have heavy armor, and so they didn't do anything. So this cavalry came in, pushed the mountain back. Now his back is against the river, and he had a unit behind him, but that unit has been pushed back by these axemen, who now turned on the mountain and went to attack them, and they need 4 hits at one time. Retreats count as casualties, but they had the green. But since they were flanking, they got to re-roll the green again, and it came up green again. So he is trapped now around Renly and his men, but not quite dead. He just keeps on fighting. I gotta show where here we go. That is that monstrosity right there. Not quite, oh yeah, good, he knows lighting. Not quite Zombie Mountain yet, but close enough. Lannister archers come back by shooting down 2 men right there. 2 of the what are they called? Smugglers, right in front of them.
Yeah,
so
outlaws.
Han Solo's been taken down. More cavalry going after the mountain, all the reinforcements going after them, just everything. It's like the Bismarck. Kill the mountain!
Kill the Bismarck, yeah.
And then over here, came up and tried to shoot that one guy remaining, but didn't get it. This is pretty huge. Well, not because of here, because of course they're just continuing to gang up on the mountain, and the mountain is just like, oh, I'm big and tough and I have a huge reach, and I'm just going to kick all your asses. But over here, this green light cavalry is beating up on this heavy cavalry that was here, caused them to retreat too, pursued them, and took them down. Light cavalry taking out heavy cavalry. You don't see that every day. And they ran into pikemen who actually kind of smashed them pretty hard. It was one single stand left, and now they've taken them down to 1 stand. So archers are picking some people off, as are the smugglers. Davos came up and killed some guys, and some of the people on the hill, some of the archers on the hill were killed. That brings us to the end of turn 3, and this has gotten very interesting here. Actually, as you can see, Baratheon has really done well on both flanks. I mean, they wrapped around here. Now Lannister's doing their best to plug up that hole with their cavalry, but they still are on the side there, and they have Jaime right where they want him. Over here, they are really clogged up with the mountain there. Go figure, the mountain is clogging something, but you know, so they are stuck with them, but they have wrapped around this thing. You do have some Lannister over here, but they pretty much control that flank, and they've made a breakthrough right here. Now, of course, again, they've lost some cavalry there, but as you can see, there is a hole that they've broken through. The Lannisters are basically just defending and holding in this little area. I mean, they have a few guys over here, and they're in heavy armor and everything. And again, they're sort of slowing them down, but that's really all it is they're slowing them, while meanwhile, they're creating this defensive position, and Baratheon is just coming through there. How do you think it's going?
Feeling pretty good about it. I mean, the mountain keeps not dying, but other than that, things are going okay. The dice are good. The dice are on my side today.
They're doing well. All right. Well, so let's see how turn 4 is going to go. They continue to go after the mountain. At this point, he's just sort of committed. He just kind of needs to, although it makes me think of Stalingrad. All right, and then over here, this cavalry moved on over here, and right down here, this infantry took down this cavalry. It's kind of bottom feeding.
The time I was gone, the world's falling apart.
Robert came up with his escort and killed that guy, and as revenge, Jaime rallied his horsemen to run up there, and they pursued him to the ends of the earth. Actually, the idea was supposed to be they'd come in and wound him, and they'd come in on the other side and wound him, and Jaime would come in for the final blow and kill him, but instead these guys made him retreat all the way back to there. Killed off his escort, but now he kind of got away from Jaime. Jaime, who was here, kind of was like, guys, oopsie. Guys, there's all this cavalry here. I'm gonna just kind of go over here. So that's the way that flank looks like now. It's kind of opened up to them because we were pursuing Robert Baratheon. Also, I just noticed that the mountain, I've been laughing about the mountain thing here, but he is actually serving a purpose. He's holding that objective. Jaime was holding that objective, but he's not quite as brave as the mountain, and he went running behind that hill. Thinks that'll protect him. Up in the center, all the action this time happened in the center. Davos came up and whittled down the archers, and Kevin came up and utilized the archers to come back and kill a unit that was right there. And now, Kevin and Davos are right next to each other. Alright, over here, this cavalry just chased Kevin Lannister's men all over eternity and whittled it down just to him. And over here, the mountain came and attacked. He ordered his other units across the field to go in after them, and he flanked. And with all of these dice from flanking and from him getting to roll extra dice with flags, he still hasn't taken him down. So it was just a couple very frustrating almost points there. Archers taking pot shots across over here, not doing anything, but the mountain takes on Renly, goes up to him, and stabs him in the heart. No more ghost Renly for you. But he's still, standing.
He was lame anyway.
Alright, yeah, Renly, rest in not-so-peace. Meanwhile, Brienne right there, no! Starts crying, oh my
and
God.
she saw it all. She saw everything.
She was right there. She's gonna have to
saw everything.
She'll have to get revenge. There's a gap now. By the way, in that hit, one thing that was kind of cool was he just was one short of actually doing it, but the mountain gets this special thing where when he rolls a flag, he rolls an extra die. And I just realized I didn't flip this. So when I kill something, flip this card after Gregor's unit eliminates a unit to roll 4 dice for each increaser. Oh, okay, so I might get extra morale from this. So I'll just go ahead and do that. Cavalry went after Jaime and managed to cause him to retreat onto that hill, but he's not dead yet. These guys went after them and killed them off. Oh, by the way, everybody cheered when the mountain killed Renly, and the morale went up by 1, which actually is rather appropriate. That's where their morale goes up. In the rest of this turn, this cavalry came around, light cavalry going after the heavy cavalry, just did a little bit of damage. These guys went after Robert Baratheon. These guys went after the horses on the flank and almost took them out, but didn't quite. Over here, some archers picked off one of the archer units here. And over here, the mountain continued to just hold that. So here where we are at the end of turn 4, we got only 1 turn left. And at this point, it's hard to say that there's really so much of, flanking or strategy or fronts. It's just big slugfest going on. I mean, just a massive brawl going on all along the front. A lot of one-stand units, you probably see them go next turn. It's really going to come down to those points of who can hold on to those points and win this game. By the way, one thing that might have been confusing to everybody, you might have noticed some of the units on the Lannister side went twice. That's because at one point they had this card, Rally All Units. So basically they used up all of their points, got all their units going, and then rallied all of them and got to move them again. So that's why all of that happened. And Robert kicked some of these guys out and pushed them around, made them go back this way, and so they came back around, attacked over here, made some of them go back that way, but did actually kill one of their cavalry units. So right now, the score actually is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I believe that is. It's wherever flags. To 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And they're still, actually, we're on our own objective, so that's the score right now, 6 to 8, and we have the momentum. Actually, the Lannisters actually went first this turn. This cavalry went after that cavalry there, and their heavy armor is protecting them. They would have killed them several times over, but the heavy armor has protected them. Brienne, vengeful about Renly being killed by the Mountain, goes in and gives her men the order to go in and kill him, gives them bonuses, but they are not king of the Mountain. He continues to just stand there and swings his button in their face. Oh! The Mountain turns and takes down an entire unit of cavalry, a fresh unit. Davos goes after a unit, causes them to retreat, and more smugglers go up here and can't take down the archers. Robert Baratheon tries to take out that cavalry, did actually take down 2 of them, almost destroyed them, but they just had enough left to go out after them. They attacked. The heavy armor once again protected them, but they got a reroll because it's a flank. That reroll hit took them down 1 more point. And this is the situation at the end of the battle. The last things that happened, actually Lannister ran out of movements before Baratheon did. Baratheon came up mostly in the center here. They sent their cavalry around, took out 1 more unit, and their momentum kind of stopped. Over here, they whittled them down a little bit, and they whittled down a little bit these archers here. The final score was Baratheon 7, Lannister 10. It mostly seems to have come down to those flanks. Over here, the Lannisters did finally manage to break through, and the Mountain held over here on the right. The Baratheon were doing well in the center. In fact, if this battle had continued, it really would have become almost like Baratheon over here, Lannisters over here. But it almost seems impossible to take down the Mountain. Except you did have Brienne there. I would have really liked to have seen something happen between them, but maybe something will happen romantically.
Oh, the dice totally screwed me at the end. That's one thing I noticed, but it wasn't the dice that were the reason that I didn't win in terms of points. I committed really hard really early and spread myself out, and what ended up happening was when I didn't get the individual colored orders that I needed and had to rely on the command cards, I noticed that my commanders weren't anywhere near the forces that they were best suited to command. So because everything was scattered for me, I had so much less flexibility, and there was at least 2 turns where units that I had were kind of left hanging or stranded, either because I didn't have a single order for them or because the commander that could make best use of them wasn't anywhere near them. So I felt like, the biggest mistake that I made was I committed way too many units to bothering the Mountain. Even a big leader like the Mountain's only worth 1 point. I mean, in this case, he was worth 2 points because he was planted on top of the objective. Good job, Jeff, by the way. And if you play this game, put the Mountain on top of the objective. Do that. Go ahead and do it. And I didn't get to use Brienne enough or Robert Baratheon enough. Those slow-moving units, I just wasn't patient enough to keep a good line and let the slow units strengthen that line.
That game did not go as I had expected. In fact, it really turned into a brawl there at the end, but we managed to pull it out. And I think the primary reason actually wasn't anything that I did. Yes, our commanders were able to give a lot of their bonuses to the troops because they were close to them, etc., etc. But really, the whole thing with the Mountain over there, I was impressed with that. That ended up turning into sort of a Stalingrad. If you know World War II, that's what the situation was. The Mountain is so hard to take down, and he basically was able to just sort of hold that entire flank, and Baratheon kept going in there and committing troops and basically committed his entire force to that side. And so I was able to attack other areas and manage to win points in various areas, and that's really why I won. But anyway, it was great having this game with Paul. He really knows his stuff when it comes to Game of Thrones, so I'm so glad that he got to be a part of this and see how this game goes and really sort of share with us his knowledge of the game. So hope you all enjoyed it too.
Well, that game really went back and forth. Thank you all for joining us for it. And if you'd like to see more, be sure to subscribe, tell your friends about us, and join us on Facebook and Twitter. Also, you can join us on Patreon, where you can support this channel and see bonus material. Thanks for watching, and happy gaming, everybody! Did you like this video? Then be sure to subscribe to see more and share us with your friends. Also, if you'd like to support us financially or just give us a tip, consider a donation on Patreon. A little donation from each of our viewers helps us expand the videos, keeps the channel going, and helps us make more of them. You also get bonus videos and a big thank you from us. Happy gaming, everybody!